Have you ever wondered what life truly feels like after you turn 70? The reality is often far from what we imagine. It's not just about gray hair or slowing down. There are aspects of aging that are rarely talked about, leaving us blindsided when we reach that age. But today we're going to dive deep into 10 harsh realities of getting older that no one warns you about, so you can be better prepared for what's ahead. Stick around, because you might be shocked by what's in store. Number 1, the loss of independence. As we get older, the things we once took for granted, like driving, going shopping, or even taking a walk, start to feel a bit more challenging. At first, it's subtle. You might notice that it's harder to get in and out of the car, or maybe your knees start to ache after a short stroll. These small changes don't seem like a big deal at first, but over time, they can make you realize just how much you rely on your physical abilities to live independently. The fear of losing independence often creeps in quietly, almost like a shadow you can't shake off. It's not just about struggling with mobility, although that's certainly part of it. It's the realization that things you could do without thinking, like cooking a meal or carrying groceries, may eventually become too hard to handle on your own. This kind of shift can be difficult to accept because it challenges your sense of self-worth and identity. After all, many of us pride ourselves on being able to take care of ourselves. For most of our lives, we're used to being in control of our routines, decisions, and actions. But as the years go by, we start noticing the little things slipping through our fingers. Maybe you need help opening a jar, or perhaps standing for long periods of time becomes painful. These are the first signs that your independence is starting to slip away, and that can be a hard pill to swallow. It's not just about physical limitations. There's an emotional side to losing independence too. The thought of having to rely on someone else for basic tasks can stir up feelings of frustration, shame, or even helplessness. It's tough to admit that you can't do everything on your own, and the idea of needing assistance can feel like a blow to your dignity. The fear of becoming a burden on others is a common worry, one that many older adults face as they try to hold on to their sense of autonomy. There's also the social aspect to consider. As your ability to do things on your own becomes more limited, you may find yourself withdrawing from activities that used to bring you joy. Whether it's going to the store, meeting up with friends, or even just taking a walk in the park, you might start to feel isolated. The physical barriers that arise often lead to emotional ones, making it harder to stay connected with the people and things you love. As your independence fades, there's often a shift in how you see the world around you. You might become more reliant on others for transportation or help with daily chores, but there's also the question of how to maintain your sense of self. How do you stay true to who you are when your body or mind doesn't work the way it used to? Many people find this to be one of the hardest adjustments to make as they get older, but it's important to remember that losing independence doesn't mean losing yourself. It can be an opportunity to explore new ways of staying engaged with life, whether that means accepting help from loved ones or finding different hobbies that work with your changing abilities. It's not easy, but with time, it's possible to find new rhythms and routines that allow you to live a fulfilling life, even as some things become more difficult. Number 2, memory fades faster than expected. As we age, one of the most surprising changes is how quickly our memory begins to fade. This isn't always something we notice right away, but when we reach our 70s, it becomes impossible to ignore. It's not as dramatic as forgetting who you are or experiencing full-blown memory loss, but it's the little things that start slipping through the cracks. At first, it's just misplacing your keys or forgetting where you put your glasses. But over time, it feels like more and more of those small details start to vanish. The most noticeable change is with names. You might run into someone you've known for years, someone you've spent hours talking to, and suddenly their name escapes you. You know their face, you know their story, but that one little piece of information, their name, seems to have slipped away. It's frustrating and sometimes embarrassing, especially when you know they know you and you're struggling to remember their name. Dates and appointments can also become harder to remember. When you were younger, you could keep track of everything in your head, no matter how packed your schedule was. But now it feels like you're constantly having to double-check your calendar or set reminder alarms for things that used to come naturally. It's not that you're any less responsible or organized. It's just that your brain doesn't seem to be storing those details as easily as it used to. Sometimes it even gets to the point where faces start to blur. You'll be walking down the street or attending a gathering and see someone you should know. But for the life of you, you can't remember how you know them. The recognition is there, but the details just aren't. It's almost like your brain is handing you pieces of a puzzle without giving you the full picture. While these memory lapses can be frustrating, they don't necessarily signal something more serious like dementia or Alzheimer's. It's simply part of the aging process. As we grow older, our brains don't operate with the same speed or efficiency as they did when we were younger. The complex network of neurons that stores and retrieves information starts to slow down, making it harder to recall facts, names, and even small everyday details. This memory fade can also bring a sense of loss. We spend our lives collecting experiences, memories, and stories, and when they start to slip away, it can feel like we're losing a part of ourselves. It's not just about forgetting something trivial. It's about the fact that the connections that once felt so easy and clear are becoming more distant. While there is no magic fix for this, the key is accepting these changes with grace. Staying mentally active by reading, engaging in conversations, and even learning new skills can help keep your brain sharp. But at the end of the day, remembering everything isn't as important as embracing the fact that life is more about the moments we experience, not just the details we can recall. Number 3, chronic pain becomes a constant. As we get older, we hear a lot about how aging can affect our bodies, but there's one thing that's often left unsaid: the constant presence of pain. It's not just something that happens once in a while or after a long day. It becomes a steady companion that we can't seem to shake. Things like arthritis, back pain, and joint problems start to creep in and become part of our daily routine. We try to carry on as usual, but these pains constantly remind us that our bodies are no longer as resilient as they once were. When you're younger, a sore back or a stiff knee might feel like a nuisance, but it's nothing that a little rest or some stretching can't fix. However, as we age, those little aches and pains don't seem to fade away as quickly. What used to be a passing discomfort now lingers, often sticking around for days, weeks, or even months. It's frustrating to realize that your body isn't healing as fast as it once did, and that each injury feels like it's taking forever to recover from. At first, it's easy to brush it off as just part of getting older. Everyone talks about how our bones, joints, and muscles wear down over time. But the truth is, the pain can be overwhelming. The simple act of bending down to tie your shoes, carrying groceries, or even getting out of bed can feel like a struggle. The discomfort might not be severe, but it's always there, lingering in the background, ready to flare up when you least expect it. The biggest challenge, however, is how slow the healing process becomes. If you twist your ankle or strain a muscle, in your younger years, you'd be back to normal in no time. Now, those same injuries seem to drag on. What once took a few days to recover from can stretch into weeks or even months. And the worst part is that once you think you're healed, you might experience a setback, sometimes from something as simple as a wrong move or an accidental twist. It's not just the physical toll that's tough to handle, it's also the emotional weight of it. Pain becomes an almost constant reminder of your age and your body's limitations. It's a daily reminder that you're no longer in your prime, and that can sometimes feel discouraging. It can even make you more cautious in your daily activities, knowing that any sudden movement or small injury could set you back even further. As we age, we also find that certain activities that used to bring us joy, like hiking, running, or playing sports, become harder or even impossible due to chronic pain. Things that once felt effortless now require careful planning and adjustments. You might find yourself avoiding certain activities out of fear of aggravating your pain, which can lead to a sense of loss and frustration. It's not just about the physical limitations. It's about losing the freedom you once had to move and do the things you love without thinking twice. Living with chronic pain means learning to adjust, but it's never easy. You start to find new ways to cope, whether it's through medication, physical therapy, or simply adapting your lifestyle to accommodate your body's needs. But there's no magic cure. Number 4, the fear of falling. At some point in life, Something as simple as tripping over a crack in the sidewalk or stumbling on an uneven surface can feel like a serious danger. The fear of falling becomes more pronounced, and each step feels like it needs to be carefully planned. What once seemed like an effortless action now brings a sense of caution, and the possibility of losing balance can become a source of anxiety. It's not that people become physically frail, but their bodies undergo changes that make falling a more significant concern. Bones, which were once strong and resilient, gradually become more fragile. Muscles that could once recover quickly from strain start to lose their strength and flexibility. These changes happen quietly, often without notice, until one day, the smallest misstep can lead to a larger fear of falling. The consequences of a fall shift dramatically with age. When younger, a fall might mean just a scrape or a bruise, but as the body changes, a fall can result in broken bones or sprained joints, injuries that are much harder to recover from. A fractured hip or wrist isn't just painful. It can lead to lengthy recovery periods and complications that make everyday life much more difficult. What makes falling even scarier is how slow and complicated recovery can be. Broken bones take longer to heal, and the body struggles to regain its strength. If osteoporosis is a factor, where bones become brittle and weak, a minor fall can result in major damage. Recovery can take weeks or even months, often accompanied by pain, and sometimes it never fully returns to normal. This prolonged recovery process is part of what makes the fear of falling so overwhelming. Falling also takes a toll on the mind, not just the body. Once someone has experienced a fall, the memory of the event tends to stick around. The fear of another fall can make even the simplest activities feel daunting. Things like walking outside or going for a run may seem too risky, which leads to avoiding those activities altogether. This cycle of avoidance weakens muscles further, making falls even more likely and creating a sense of insecurity and hesitation. Beyond the physical and emotional pain, falling can represent a loss of independence. When you can no longer trust your body to move safely, it can feel as if you're losing control. The ability to walk with confidence, something that used to come naturally, now feels uncertain. This loss of self-assurance can affect not just the person who's afraid of falling, but also their loved ones, as they become concerned for their safety and well-being. Despite these challenges, there are ways to reduce the risk of falling and regain a sense of control. Strengthening muscles, improving flexibility, and making sure that living spaces are clear of hazards can help. Wearing supportive shoes and staying active can also reduce the chances of a fall. Even if a fall does happen, advances in medicine and supportive care can aid in recovery. While the fear of falling is real, taking proactive steps to stay strong and confident can make a big difference in living life more fully. Number 5, sleep becomes a struggle. As we grow older, one of the biggest changes we often face is a struggle with sleep. When we were younger, falling asleep and staying asleep seemed so easy. You'd slip under the covers, close your eyes, and drift off into a peaceful slumber. But after the age of 70, sleep isn't as simple. Many people start experiencing problems that make getting a good night's rest a challenge. Tossing and turning becomes a regular part of the night, and even if you do manage to fall asleep, it doesn't always last. It's not uncommon for older adults to wake up several times during the night. This disruption can happen for a variety of reasons. Some people wake up due to physical discomfort, like joint pain or muscle stiffness, which can make it difficult to find a comfortable sleeping position. Others may experience restless legs or feel the need to use the bathroom more frequently, which breaks up their sleep cycle. Then, there are the times when you wake up, but you can't seem to fall back asleep. The mind starts racing, and before you know it, you're lying in bed, wide awake, watching the minutes tick by. This can be incredibly frustrating because while you may feel exhausted, your body just refuses to rest. The more you stress about not sleeping, the harder it becomes to actually get back to sleep. A big part of this issue comes from changes in our body's internal clock as we age. The body's production of melatonin, a hormone that helps regulate sleep, naturally decreases over time. This makes it harder for older adults to fall asleep and stay asleep. Even if you're exhausted, your body might not respond to the usual sleep signals in the same way it once did. Another factor is the natural decline in deep sleep. As we get older, the amount of time spent in deep restorative sleep decreases. Instead, we may spend more time in lighter stages of sleep. This means that while you may be lying down for a long period, your sleep quality isn't as high as it once was. You may wake up feeling as though you haven't truly rested at all, even if you spent the whole night in bed. This lack of quality sleep can have a serious impact on your overall health. Without enough rest, your energy levels drop, and you may feel more irritable or less able to focus. Sleep is also vital for repairing muscles and tissues, so constant sleep disturbances can leave you feeling sore or stiff in the morning. Over time, poor sleep can even affect your immune system, making it harder for your body to fight off illnesses. The struggle to sleep as we age is real, and it's important to recognize it as more than just a nuisance. Finding ways to improve your sleep habits, like sticking to a regular sleep schedule or creating a more comfortable sleep environment, can make a big difference. Even small changes like reducing caffeine intake or finding ways to relax before bed can help ease the frustration of sleepless nights. Ultimately, good sleep is essential for maintaining both physical and mental well-being, especially as we grow older. Number 6, social isolation hits harder than you expect. As you approach your 70s, one of the first things you might notice is how much smaller your social circle becomes. The friends you once spent countless hours with might start to drift away for various reasons. Some may have to move to different places, while others might face their own health struggles that keep them from being as active as they once were. This can leave you feeling like you're watching life move on without you. The social interactions you once took for granted begin to dwindle, and it can feel like you're on the outside looking in. This sense of isolation can creep up on you slowly, almost unnoticed at first. At first, it might just be a missed call or an invitation you don't receive anymore. But before long, you realize it's been weeks, maybe months, since you've had a real conversation with someone you care about. The world around you seems to move at a faster pace than you're able to keep up with, and the contrast between the busy lives of others and your own quieter existence can feel overwhelming. As the days pass, you might find that the loneliness becomes more pronounced. You might have family nearby, but they have their own busy lives to manage, and their time for socializing may be limited. It's not that they don't care, but it's easy to get lost in the shuffle of everyday responsibilities, leaving you feeling like a forgotten afterthought. It can become a heavy burden, especially if you're used to being a more active part of social circles. This loneliness isn't just about missing the company of others. It can have a profound impact on your mental and emotional well-being. The lack of interaction can lead to feelings of sadness, frustration, or even depression. You might begin to doubt your own worth or wonder if others have moved on because they no longer find you interesting or valuable. These thoughts can eat away at your self-esteem, making the isolation feel even more intense. In addition to emotional effects, the physical toll of isolation can be just as real. Without regular social activities, it becomes easier to fall into sedentary habits. You may spend more time indoors, leading to physical issues like weight gain, decreased mobility, or a general lack of energy. Physical activity, which is often tied to socialization, becomes harder to maintain, and this cycle of inactivity and isolation only compounds the feeling of being left behind. The pressure of feeling isolated also has a way of reinforcing itself. The more you feel like you're disconnected from others, the more you withdraw. Sometimes it's difficult to take the first step to reach out. You might wonder if anyone would be interested in spending time with you or whether they'd just pity you. Over time, this fear of rejection can prevent you from making the effort to reconnect, keeping you stuck in your solitude. Despite how heavy this isolation may feel, it's important to remember that you're not alone in experiencing it. Many older adults face similar challenges, and it's not a reflection of who you are as a person. There are ways to combat this loneliness, whether it's through joining clubs, taking up hobbies that involve others, or simply making an effort to check in on old friends. While it may take time, reaching out and building new connections can help you regain a sense of community and belonging. Number 7, the financial strain you didn't see coming. When people think about retirement, they usually imagine relaxing and enjoying their golden years. However, the reality for many seniors is far from that peaceful picture. Once you stop working and start living off a fixed income, you quickly realize that it's not always enough to cover all your needs. At first, it may seem manageable, but over time, unexpected expenses start piling up, and that's when the financial strain begins to hit hard. Medical costs are often the first surprise. Even with health insurance, many seniors face high out-of-pocket expenses for prescriptions, treatments, or hospital visits. Chronic conditions, which are more common as we age, can result in frequent doctor's appointments or therapies that add up quickly. No matter how careful you are, medical emergencies or ongoing health issues can drain your savings faster than expected. On top of healthcare costs, maintaining a home becomes another challenge. Home repairs, like fixing a leaky roof, replacing worn-out appliances, or dealing with plumbing issues, are necessary but expensive. These kinds of maintenance jobs don't just pop up once in a while. They can become regular headaches that require spending money you don't always have. For many seniors, keeping their home in good condition becomes a constant worry, and sometimes they have to choose between getting something repaired or keeping their utilities on. Then there's the matter of everyday living expenses. Groceries, transportation, and utilities seem like small costs at first, but over time, they start to feel like big burdens. With rising prices on basic items, seniors on a fixed income have to find ways to stretch their money further. Some may even skip meals or limit themselves to lower quality food just to make ends meet, which only worsens their health. Others might rely on family or friends for help, which can be embarrassing or stressful for everyone involved. The uncertainty of how long your savings will last is a major source of stress. With no reliable way to predict future expenses, seniors often find themselves worrying about running out of money before the end of the month or the year. If a large, unexpected expense arises, like a car breakdown or needing new clothes for a special occasion, it can feel like everything is spiraling out of control. Many seniors have to make difficult decisions, constantly balancing the need for essentials with the fear of financial collapse. Perhaps the toughest part of this situation is the emotional toll it takes. The constant worry about money combined with the guilt of having to ask for help can lead to feelings of frustration, depression, and even isolation. Many seniors feel like they've worked their whole lives only to find themselves struggling to get by. They may feel as though they're not able to live the life they envision for their later years, which can be disheartening and discouraging. In the end, the financial challenges of retirement are not always something people prepare for adequately. The transition from working and earning a regular paycheck to surviving on a limited, fixed income can be overwhelming. Without a strong financial cushion or the ability to predict unexpected costs, many seniors end up in a constant state of financial anxiety, always wondering if they'll have enough to cover their needs. For some, retirement becomes more about survival than enjoying the freedom they thought they had earned. Number 8, your body just doesn't recover like it used to. As you grow older, you start to notice that your body doesn't bounce back the way it used to. Think back to when you were younger, how easy it was to eat whatever you wanted and feel fine the next day. Maybe you stayed up late or had a few too many drinks, but by morning you were good as new. Your body seemed to have a built-in resilience, quickly recovering from anything that came its way. That's a feeling that becomes harder to hold on to as the years pass. By the time you hit your 70s, those little bumps in the road, whether it's a cold, a minor injury, or even just a long day of activity, start to hit harder. What used to be a quick recovery now feels like it takes forever. A cold that once lasted a couple of days could now keep you in bed for weeks. Your immune system, which once had your back without much thought, starts to slow down. It's like your body just doesn't have the same energy or speed to fight off sickness. Even something as simple as a routine checkup or a minor procedure takes longer to recover from. You might find yourself feeling more sore or tired than expected after a small surgery, and the healing process stretches on longer than it used to. Your body needs more time to regain strength, and even after months of rest, it might still feel different. Your muscles, joints, and bones don't snap back the way they did in your youth, and this can sometimes leave you frustrated or even a little scared. It's not just about how you look anymore either. When you're young, you can get away with a few late nights or eating foods that aren't the best for you without any noticeable impact. But now how your body feels is much more important. You notice the aches in your joints, the tightness in your muscles, and that lingering fatigue that doesn't seem to go away with a good night's sleep. It can feel like your body is just not working for you the way it once did, and that shift can be hard to accept. The physical changes you experience as you get older aren't just about wrinkles or gray hair. They affect how you move, how your energy levels fluctuate, and even how you handle stress or illness. Your body, while still strong in many ways, doesn't recover with the same ease. For some, this can be a reminder of how precious time is and how important it is to take better care of the body you have left. Adapting to this slower recovery means you might have to make different choices. Maybe you can't push through that workout the same way you did in your 40s or 50s. Instead of heading straight back into the routine after a cold or injury, you might need more rest or gentle movement. You'll likely learn to listen to your body in a way you didn't before, paying attention to signs of wear and tear and giving yourself the time you need to heal. But with all this comes a new sense of awareness. Aging forces you to think differently about health and wellness. It's not just about pushing through discomfort anymore. It's about recognizing what your body needs to recover and keeping it as healthy as possible, even when you can't bounce back as quickly as you once did. Number 9, aging parents. As we get older, life tends to get more complicated. One of the hardest things to manage is the shift in roles that happens when our parents, who once took care of us, now need our care. It can be overwhelming when your parents start to show signs of aging, whether it's a decline in their health, mobility, or mental sharpness. The responsibility of looking after them can feel like an emotional and physical burden that you never expected to carry. Suddenly, you find yourself juggling your own life, work, and personal needs while trying to be there for them in ways that might feel like a full-time job. This role reversal is not just a practical challenge, but an emotional one too. For many, it's hard to accept that the people who once gave you advice, helped you through tough times, and guided you, now need your help. It can feel like the roles you've known all your life are suddenly flipped, and you are the one making decisions about their well-being. This shift can bring about a deep sense of sadness or even guilt, as you realize that your parents are no longer the ones in charge of the family dynamic. The stress can be heightened when you realize that caregiving can often take more than just time. It can drain your energy, finances, and mental health. Taking on the responsibility of handling doctor's appointments, managing medications, or simply being there when they need you can start to take a toll on your own life. You may feel like you have little time or energy left to focus on your own needs, and that can lead to feelings of resentment, frustration, or exhaustion. This is particularly difficult when you still have your own family, job, and social life to maintain. You might also find yourself grieving the loss of the parents you once knew. When your mom or dad starts to forget things, lose their independence, or become physically weaker, it can be heartbreaking. Watching them struggle, especially if their personality or behavior changes, can bring about a sense of mourning even before their time has come. This grief can add another layer of difficulty to the role of caregiver as you try to accept the reality of the situation while still being strong for them. At times, there's also the challenge of balancing the emotions involved with caregiving. It's hard to stay patient or upbeat when you're dealing with your own feelings of helplessness or sadness. You may also feel torn between being there for your parents and maintaining your own sense of identity and independence. The constant push-pull between wanting to care for them and needing time for yourself can create a lot of inner conflict. This shift in responsibilities often leads to feelings of isolation. Many people who take on the role of caregiving feel like they are carrying a weight that others don't understand. You may not know who to turn to, and sometimes it feels like no one else truly gets the emotional strain you're going through. You may avoid sharing too much because it's hard to talk about the difficult feelings of guilt, frustration, or sorrow that often come with caregiving. Number 10, loss of purpose. As we go through life, we often find ourselves immersed in roles and responsibilities that shape our daily routines. We work hard, raise families, stay active, and contribute to society in various ways. These roles give us a sense of purpose and direction, keeping us busy and engaged. Our jobs, relationships, and activities provide us with a clear sense of meaning, and we're constantly moving forward, focused on tasks and goals. But as we age, there comes a time when those responsibilities begin to fade away. Children grow up and move out, careers come to an end, and the daily hustle that once defined our lives slows down. Suddenly, we find ourselves with more free time than we're used to, and that's when the feelings of uncertainty can begin to creep in. Without the usual obligations to guide us, it's easy to feel adrift. We may start questioning our purpose, wondering what role we play now that the things that once defined us are no longer there. The sense of contribution that came from work or family life may seem to vanish, leaving us feeling disconnected or even unimportant. This can be a difficult adjustment, especially when we've spent so many years finding fulfillment in caring for others or meeting work deadlines. The loss of purpose can also bring a feeling of isolation. We may find ourselves without the regular interactions or sense of community that we once had. If we've been primarily defined by our work or family life, the absence of these connections can feel like a huge gap. It's hard to find motivation when it feels like there's no one depending on us or expecting us to show up each day. As time passes, these feelings of aimlessness can deepen. What was once a small sense of loss might begin to feel like a heavy weight. It's not uncommon for individuals to start feeling invisible or irrelevant, especially in a world that values productivity and youth. These emotions can even lead to depression, where everything starts to feel pointless, and the things that used to bring joy no longer have the same effect. What makes this particularly challenging is that the transition can be gradual, and we may not realize how much we're affected until the feelings become overwhelming. The first few years after retirement or when children leave home can feel like a breath of fresh air, but eventually the novelty wears off, and the questions of what's next start to dominate our thoughts. However, it's important to recognize that this phase of life doesn't have to be one of despair. Finding new purpose, even in small ways, can make a world of difference. Exploring new hobbies, volunteering, or simply redefining what it means to contribute can help rebuild that sense of meaning. Although it may take time, the loss of purpose is not permanent. There are always opportunities to rediscover what makes life meaningful, even when the old roles are no longer part of the picture. Getting older is something that happens to all of us, and while it's a natural part of life, the challenges that come with it are often not talked about much. As you get older, especially as you approach your 70s and beyond, it's important to face these changes head on. Understanding the different aspects of aging and what to expect can make a huge difference in how you deal with them. When you're prepared for what's ahead, it becomes easier to take on the difficulties of getting older. One of the first things to realize is that aging isn't just about the physical changes. While your body may slow down, your mind and emotions also go through shifts. It's easy to think about aging as simply losing strength or becoming frail, but there are many more layers to it. The way you feel, how you think, and even how you connect with others can all be affected. It's helpful to acknowledge that all of these changes are part of the process and that they don't define who you are. As your body changes, there are certain things you might notice more, like a decrease in energy or slower healing after injuries. You might even find it harder to do things that were once simple, like climbing stairs or walking long distances. But the key is not to let these physical changes discourage you. Instead, try to focus on what you can do and adapt to these new ways of living. There are many ways to stay active, healthy, and involved in life, even if it's not the same as it used to be. Another important part of aging is the need for more self-care. Your body may not bounce back as quickly as it did in your younger years, so it's crucial to take extra care of it. This includes eating well, staying active, and getting enough rest. It's also important to schedule regular checkups with your doctor to keep an eye on your health. Paying attention to your body's needs will help you maintain your well-being and avoid unnecessary stress down the road. Mental and emotional health is just as important as physical health. Aging can bring feelings of loneliness, loss, or even frustration as you watch the world around you change. However, it's vital to stay connected with others and find joy in the small things. Keeping up with hobbies, spending time with friends and family, and staying curious about the world can make a big difference. It's not always about what you can't do anymore, but finding joy in what you can still experience. It's also important to adjust your mindset when it comes to aging. While it might seem daunting at first, there are so many opportunities to enjoy life in your later years. Many people find new passions, take up new hobbies, or even reinvent themselves in ways they didn't expect. Aging doesn't mean you have to stop dreaming or pursuing your interests. It might mean doing things at a slower pace or differently, but that doesn't make them any less meaningful. Finally, remember that it's okay to ask for help. Whether it's from family, friends, or healthcare professionals, you don't have to go through the aging process alone. Support systems are crucial, and they help you maintain a higher quality of life. Embrace the changes, accept the support, and always look for ways to find meaning and joy no matter your age. Life may be different as you get older, but it can still be rich, fulfilling, and full of surprises.